Welcome to this ToolHound Learning Center video covering day-to-day operation of adding a new type of tool, a few pieces of inventory, or restocking consumables or other bulk quantity items. There are multiple methods of adding inventory, and each one has its own benefits. Manually adding inventory is best suited for an established system where you're adding parts, serialized assets, or receiving quantity items daily, weekly, or less frequently. These tasks can be done in the browser or on the mobile app. Importing inventory is best when first setting up your ToolHound database or later on when you have a large amount of inventory to add. This is done through the browser. For established systems using the purchasing module, receiving new serialized items or consumable and small tool quantities against a PO can be done in the browser or on the mobile app. The API can be used by your IT personnel to programmatically move inventory information into ToolHound from another database or application at any time. It's generally part of an ongoing workflow. The day-to-day process of adding inventory or restocking quantity items has three basic steps. First, you add the part number if it's not already in the system. Next, you add the item IDs to identify your tools and equipment. And then you adjust the inventory levels for non-unique inventory. We'll look at each one of these steps and show you some examples. Part numbers create your catalog of inventory. They carry all the common characteristics of size, use, and the capacity for a type of tool, equipment, or asset, regardless of the quantity you have. The first step in adding inventory to ToolHound is determining whether the part number already exists in your database. If you want to add any pick list references to your part numbers, such as a new manufacturer or vendor, add them first so they're available when you add the part. With an established database, this is less of a concern. When adding the new part number, set the visibility to the highest point in your location hierarchy so that all stocking points can access the same part number. This ensures standardization across your organization and better reporting on ROI and usage. The uncommon exception to this is for large organizations where certain stocking points or regions have specialized tooling or a different business focus. If the part requires a certification or training or has any service task requirements, enter them here. If you're using the purchasing module, you can also set the levels for reordering. The next step in adding inventory is adding the item IDs for the assets. For non-serialized inventory types, that is non-stock, bulk, and consumable, the item ID is added on the part number when the part is created. Only one item ID is required. For serialized inventory, one item ID is added for each unique asset. Also add any information specific to that item, like the purchase date, the last service date, the cost, and the serial number if applicable. Item IDs, usually barcodes, are used for all transactions to check out and return inventory, and to do transfers from one stocking location to another. For bulk and consumable inventory, you need to specify the quantity using an inventory adjustment. Remember that quantities aren't tracked for non-stock. For serialized inventory, the quantity is automatically 1 when a new item is added, so these inventory adjustments are handled automatically in the background. Let's look at adding a new consumable to inventory. On a blank part numbers page, we'll start by selecting the optional category and subcategory references we wish to use. We can also create a new part number by clicking plus first, then selecting the references. The manufacturer we want, Buchanan, is not in the list, so we'll quickly open the manufacturer's page, click plus, add the manufacturer Buchanan, and click Save. When we return to the part numbers page, we can select it from the list. Now we'll click plus to retain those three references and start adding our new part number. Required fields are in red, but any additional information you can capture for your catalog is always helpful. In this case, we've decided to standardize on the manufacturer part number. The inventory type is consumable, and since it's non-serialized, we need to enter the item ID that will be used to issue and return the item. The visibility will be at the top of our location hierarchy, And we'll enter our description in, going from most general to most specific. We'll add a picture of the wire connector. This helps anyone requisitioning inventory ensure they get the correct item, avoiding any delays. And we'll save our new part number. Now we'll record the quantity we're putting into stock. On the Adjust Inventory page, click plus. Select the stocking point where the inventory is being added. Enter the item ID and enter the quantity being added to inventory. Next, enter a reason for adjusting the inventory. And capture the cost of the inventory. Finally, click Save. Returning to the Part Numbers page, we click Refresh. The last cost and average cost have been updated. And then select the Stocking Points tab. We can see that the quantity on hand has been updated. Now we'll enter the minimum and maximum quantities for reordering. And save our changes. Here we have a bulk tool. Let's see how to add it. On a blank part number page, we'll start by selecting the category. We don't have an appropriate subcategory, so let's add it quickly. On the Categories page, we'll expand Hand Tools, and then click plus to the right to add a new subcategory. We'll type in Saws and click Save. Back on the Part Numbers page, we'll select the Saws subcategory, and we'll add Husky as our manufacturer. We paste in the model, then click plus to add a new part number with these values. We can also create a new part number by clicking plus first, then selecting the references. We'll enter a generic part number this time, and then select the inventory type bulk. And we assign the item ID used to issue and return the item. We set the visibility to the top of our location hierarchy. Then we enter the description going from most general to most specific. Building your descriptions this way helps make reports more readable. And we'll save our new part number, before remembering that we have a picture that we can add to it. And we click Save again. Now let's create the inventory adjustment to record the quantity on hand. Click plus, select the stocking point where the inventory is being added. We're going to use the lookup to find the item ID for the saw, and we'll enter the quantity. Next, we'll enter a reason for this adjustment, and we'll capture the cost per unit before clicking Save. Note that when we refresh the part numbers page, it's picked up the last cost and average cost from the adjustment. And now let's look at serialized inventory. In this example, we'll add 3 new items for a serialized part. Since we've had similar gas monitors in the past, we'll start by clicking plus. We'll enter the part number and select the inventory type Serialized. Note that the item ID disappears. We'll set the visibility to the top of our location hierarchy, then enter our description going from most general to most specific. We'll select the category Safety Equipment and the subcategory Gas Monitors. And we'll set the manufacturer to Industrial Scientific before entering the model. These are optional. Required fields are in red, but any additional information you can capture for your catalog is always helpful. We'll add a picture of this type of gas monitor before saving the new part number. Now we'll add the item IDs for the 3 individual gas monitors. Select the Items tab and click plus at the top left. This opens a new record on the Serialized Items page that already has the part number information. We'll enter the barcode or other unique identifier in the primary ID field. This is the item ID. Set the inventory status to in stock and set the stocking point. Select the Purchase Rental Information tab. Enter whatever information you have about the purchase of this item. it's recommended that at the least you should include the cost. And then click Save. To quickly add the second gas monitor, click Copy or Repeat on the toolbar. This retains all the information except what's unique. So add in the second primary ID, set the status to In Stock, and then click Save. We'll click Repeat again, add the primary ID for the third gas monitor, select the inventory status, and click Save. Back on the part numbers page, we can see the summary list of the 3 new item IDs, and on the General tab, once we refresh, we can see the rolled up last cost and average cost. Let's review what we've learned so far. Step 1 is to add the part number. The part number carries all information common to all items, including pick list references, service requirements, reordering levels. A picture is helpful when requisitioning, including transfer and purchase requests, either in the browser or on the mobile, and when looking up inventory on the mobile app or using the kiosk. Step 2 is to add the item IDs. Non-serialized inventory has only one item ID, while serialized inventory has one item ID per asset. And then adjust the inventory to add the quantities for non-serialized items. Finally, one tip is to add the cost. Adding the cost when the adjustment is created or when adding serialized items ensures that all transactions and reports carry those costs. It's a lot of work to try and backfill this information later on. Thanks for watching this video from the ToolHound Learning Center. For any questions, contact our support team. And remember, subscribe and hit the notification bell.